Hello, I'm Jim Wilson, President and CEO of AgGateway Global Network. In this 9-minute video, I will share with you the ways in which AgGateway is a great place for companies to collaborate on digital agriculture projects. Specifically, I will explain what AgGateway is, describe a common industry objective, discuss the project support requirements for achieving the objective, share a field operations story, and explain what AgGateway delivers. So what is AgGateway? AgGateway is an agriculture industry-funded nonprofit consortium leading the global transition to digital agriculture. Now let's discuss a frequent and common industry objective. Simply stated, a common industry objective is that a group of companies need to collaborate on a digital agriculture project. So let's discuss what it will take to conduct a successful project. To set up this discussion, we need to be clear about a couple of unique challenges in industry collaborative projects. Industry collaborative projects must address the fact that each project participant is a competitor of one or more other project participants. Sometimes the competition is fierce and often results in trust issues at the beginning of a project. However, trust must develop to enable collaboration with one another and others in order to achieve the project objectives. Project participants must collaborate on digitization standards, guidelines, and implementation tools, and then compete on everything else. There's a balance between things the company shares in an industry setting and things that they regard as a source of competitive advantage. In any event, project participants must collaborate on some level, which leads to the second complication. Collaboration among competitors cannot be just a series of ad hoc meetings. Collaborators cannot violate the European Commission competition policy, Brazilian competition law, U.S. antitrust law, New Zealand's Commerce Amendment Act of 2017 dealing with cartels, and then the associated draft guidelines released 3 months ago, Australia's competition law, or similar legislation in other jurisdictions. They must avoid any appearance of anti-competitive behavior. The foundation for this is to form or join an industry consortium with appropriate policies, procedures, and strict adherence to them. Let's consider some of the things an industry consortium needs to provide. An industry consortium must provide an antitrust and intellectual property safe harbor, promote participation, promote transparency, promote accountability, manage intellectual property, manage project finances, promote the project in the press, produce webinars, provide a collaborative work environment, provide policies and procedures for conducting work, publish standards, guidelines, and implementation tools, collaborate with other industry consortia and standards organizations. And finally, facilitate connections between project participants and key business and technical partners. Let's pause for a moment and let me tell you a field operations story. In 2011, John Deere, AGCO, CNH, Topcon, ZX, Ag Connections, Trimble, and several other companies agreed that field operations needed to be digitized. Those companies agreed that they needed a few things. They needed a place that would provide an antitrust and intellectual property safe harbor, promote participation, promote transparency, accountability, manage intellectual property and project finances, promote the project in the press, produce webinars, provide a collaborative framework, policies and procedures for conducting work, publish standards, guidelines, and implementation tools, collaborate with other industry consortia and standards organizations, and facilitate connections between project participants and key business and technical partners. Yes, I repeated the earlier list to emphasize the point that all of this is required. So the equipment companies, device makers, and farm management information system vendors considered establishing a consortium. However, many of them recognized that there was no reason to start something new when a proven consortium already existed. In fact, many of them were already members. So they threw out consideration of establishing a consortium and instead decided to conduct their project in AgGateway. And it worked out really well for them. And there are lots of other success stories. Crop protection products, seed, crop nutrition or fertilizer, warehouse management, irrigation, aerial imagery, fertilizer blending operations, and the list goes on. I would love to spend a few hours and tell you about them, perhaps another time. We need to move on. So, what does AgGateway deliver? It's important to acknowledge that the wealth of resources AgGateway has at its disposal will only be of value in the context where collaborating companies deliver on the following success factor. They must provide project oversight, for example, a project board, project staff, for example, a project manager, funding, and most importantly, committed participants. In that context, AgGateway delivers myriad resources to support the project. Specifically, AgGateway delivers some consortium participants. They're already AgGateway members. Competition law compliant collaboration environment. Project formation assistance. Quick turnaround on new and updated standards. Marketing and communications, for example, press releases. Grower identifier and ship-to identifier service, for example, using GS1's GLN. Project accounting services, project collaboration tools and best practices, for example, mail lists, wiki, issue management tool, GitHub, and many more. At a higher level, AgGateway will deliver faster execution. Everything is ready to go today. Higher quality outcome. We are constantly refining our best practices, and a new consortium would need to develop them over years. Lower cost. Cost is already shared by the rest of the agriculture industry. And finally, lower risk. AgGateway has a proven track record, and everything is ready to go. A new consortium would need a few years to ramp up. And that's it. Thank you for watching and listening.